What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of Ahead of the Game podcast. We have a Monday Night Football doubleheader reaction. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe. Make sure you comment. I love talking to you guys. Best season of the year. What more can you ask for? We'll start off with the BUCS and the Texans. Let's get right into it. I really like this game. Let's start off with the BUCS. I think the BUCS are entering another tier in their franchise in the Baker Mayfield era. I think they're learning how to win these hard-fought football games, and I think Baker Mayfield is entering another tier of quarterback now. You know, at first it was, just learning how to be a quarterback in the NFL and learning the life of a starting NFL quarterback, and now I think he's in the tier of a winning quarterback. And I mean a winning quarterback of winning these hard-fought, gritty games, these ugly offensive games, these defensive games, and really learning how to lead a team to wins. You know what I mean? And that's what this league is all about. And I think now the BUCS are entering that they're going to be a tough out each and every week type of team. You know, they're never out. You know what I mean? Just like everybody thinks of, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're losing, but they're never out of the game. I think the BUCS are entering that tier of, even if they're not moving the ball offensively or they're not looking as good offensively, they're entering that tier of, now we know how to win a game like this. And I think, the BUCS aren't even fully healthy right now. And I think for them, I believe they're a Super Bowl contender. And I believe that because defensively, their continuity on defense, it shows. Nobody's ever out of place. And Todd Bowles has that defense running how he wants it to be ran. And when you got leaders like Levante David, Vita Vea, Jamel Dean's been there, Winfield's been there. They have a lot of seasoned guys on that defense. And offensively, you got Baker Mayfield leading the helm and making these crazy plays. And I think this is like his third offensive coordinator. And I believe that, the BUCS are legit Super Bowl contenders because offensively and defensively, they look very good. And like I said, defensively, they have a lot of vets on that defense. And they have a mixture of young guys and vets, and that's crazy. And to me, that's crazy good because that's how you need a team in today's NFL. You need those vets. You need those vets on the defense. And offensively, they're getting led by Baker Mayfield. And they're not even healthy. They don't have Godwin. They don't have McMillan. They're missing a lot of their top receivers. But again, when you got Emeka Egbuka, Mike Evans, and their tight end, Cade Otton, hasn't even really shown up a lot. And Bucky Irvin is a hell of a player out of Oregon. And Rashad. They have everything on offense that you need, honestly. They have a run game. They have four receivers. When Godwin and McMillan comes back, you have Emeka Egbuka and Mike Evans already there. And their offensive line isn't even, the crazy thing is their offensive line isn't even 100%. They don't have Tristan Wirfs yet. He hasn't even played yet. And I know they just lost Gadecki also. So they're not even 100%, and they're winning these tough, hard-fought, gritty games. And that's why I say the BUCS are entering this next tier of learning how to win games. Let's talk about the Texans, man. The Texans, I feel like they're doing a disservice to CJ Stroud. They are not giving him the offensive line that he needs to succeed. Watching this game, every time he has time to make his read, scan the field, set his feet, and throw, they can move the ball effectively and efficiently. I get the pocket always isn't going to be clean. The pocket is always going to be clean. You have, pass rushers just trying to do their job, get to the quarterback. And I get it. The offensive line isn't always going to give you a clean pocket. Sometimes you got to make the play yourself. But I feel like the Texans did him a disservice because they don't have anybody on the offensive line. They have nobody on that offensive line. And I get that you want to give him the shiny toys on the outside and, go get, a Nick Chubb and draft 2 wide receivers and try to give him some more weapons. But when you trade away Laramie Tunsil, you have to do something about that O-line. And that is the biggest issue with the Texans right now. And it's not CJ Stroud. I watched this game. He's running for his life. It's not CJ Stroud. I get that he's not having the season that he's had since his rookie year, but if you look at his rookie year, he had time in the pocket. He had a clean pocket. He had Laramie Tunsil on his blind side. And you get rid of Laramie Tunsil, and you have nobody on that offensive line. And the big problem is you can't run the ball because you don't have an offensive line. And I feel like the Houston Texans are doing him a disservice. And to all my Texans fans, don't blame CJ Stroud and don't blame DeMeco Ryans. You blame whoever is drafting for the Houston Texans and whoever's making the free agency moves, because you don't draft any offensive linemen and you don't go out of free agency and get some more offensive linemen. And that's the huge problem with the Texans, and that's why they're 0-2. The Texans have always been good when they're able to run the ball, play action, and give CJ Stroud time in the pocket. He doesn't have that right now. Defensively, the Texans are superior defensively. You held them to 20 points. 4-quarter, 48 minutes of a football game. You held them to 20 points. It's literally the offensive line. The offensive line can't really block anybody. And to be honest with you, the Buccaneers don't have a supreme pass rusher. And they were getting home. And the fact that, they were getting home rushing 4 sometimes, even though they did blitz them a lot, rushing 4, they were still getting home is crazy to me, because the only supreme pass rusher that they really have is Hassan Reddick, and he hasn't really been the same since he's left the Jets. Or since he's left the Jets, I believe that was his best season. But I feel like they're doing him a disservice because they don't really have any offensive line around him. I can't name one offensive lineman on the Texas offensive line. Thinking right now, I don't know. But again, they started 0-2, and I think that the Texans are gonna they might not make the playoffs, because you can't have your quarterback leading your team in rushing, and you can't have your quarterback running for his life every single play. And the big problem is you can't run play action if you can't run the ball. And that's what they like to do, the Texans. They like to take these shot plays, and they can't do it. That's the big problem with the Texans. It's not CJ Stroud. Again, CJ Stroud didn't play perfect. He missed some throws, and I believe it was because he thought he was going to get pressured. He was making his read quick, getting the ball out of his hand, and I believe that he got fidgety back there, because when you keep getting hit, keep getting pressured every time you snap the ball, it gets to you as a quarterback, especially as a young quarterback. So I believe the Texans are going to probably miss the playoffs, and I think they need to revitalize that offensive line from everybody from the center all the way down to both tackles. And I think they will probably miss the playoffs, because you can't go a whole season with your quarterback leading the team in rushing and not being able to run the ball. So the big takeaway for me is the Buccaneers are entering the next tier in their franchise with Baker Mayfield, and learning how to win these tough, gritty games. And I believe Baker Mayfield he's the leader of that team, and he's getting these guys these wins and leading these guys to these very good wins. And I believe defensively, Todd Bowles has this thing running in the right way with the vets and the young guys, the mixture of those guys. And the Texans, I believe, for them, they're going to need help. They're going to probably miss the playoffs. You're in an 0-2 hole. Luckily, your division isn't that good. But I believe that they're probably going to have to take a step back and revitalize that offensive line. But yeah, this was another episode of Ahead of the Game podcast. Monday Night Football edition doubleheader. Don't you guys go nowhere. I got my Raiders episode coming up next. So you guys don't want to miss that one. But again, this was another episode. Appreciate you guys listening. On the next one.